Greetings, brothers and sisters. I hope I find you well. This is your brother Melusi. Just want to bring you my morning chimes, reflections on the things that I was studying this morning and my devotion. And I come to you like this because it's so hot off the table that I have to give it to you before I move on. And I just want to talk this morning about Peter. I spent the bulk of August just praying and fasting on the book of John, and when I discovered the experiences of Jesus with Peter, they really left me humbled by how God calls us and how he uses us in his kingdom or in the ministry of the preaching of the gospel. Now, I want to make this declaration well in advance because I'm pinning this whole chime on that thought. Never take credit for your success because it was not a product of your own making. Many times we think we have succeeded because we have worked hard, we have thought this through, we have got the connections, and we've got the mindset, we've got the lion's heart, and we take credit for our success. Peter cannot say that about his success in ministry and doing all the things he was doing. Because when you come with me to the book of Luke chapter 22, verse 31, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan has desired to have you, that he may sift you as the wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith fail not. And when you are converted, strengthen your brothers. When you are converted, at which point in the ministry of Jesus was Peter told about being converted? So the assumption I'm going to make is Peter was not converted before, or he had half conversions. He had his foot with Jesus, but maybe his foot was somewhere else. Because we see it the moment Jesus is crucified. What does Peter say? I go fishing. He takes his brothers from Jerusalem. They trek up north to the Sea of Tiberias, way over the Sea of Tiberias on the northern side, because that's where Bethesda and Capernaum were. He goes fishing. So he kept the boat. He kept the nets. He kept everything. He didn't throw them away. He had a plan B. And so we see Peter being prayed for by Jesus here. And he says, when you are converted, strengthen your brothers. So walk with me to the beginning of Peter's ministry with Jesus. How did he join Jesus? Again, it was not Peter who came to Jesus by himself. He was brought by his brother. Peter was a beneficiary of the ministry of his brother Andrew, who was already following John. And when he heard John say, behold the Lamb of God that takes the sin of the world, they left John and went after Jesus and said, Rabbi, where do you stay? They went and spent the whole day with Jesus. And by that time, Andrew was convinced he is the Messiah. So he went and told Peter that we have found him whom the prophets and Moses were talking about. When they brought him to Jesus, Jesus saw Peter and said, thou art Peter, but from today onwards your name shall be called Cephas, meaning the stone. And so Jesus calls him to follow him, and Peter comes along. We don't hear how Peter responds, but later on, as he was gone fishing, we then discover that Peter was not converted. But come back again with me to this thought. The first time we hear about Peter, John, the Gospel of John says it was Andrew who brought him to Jesus. If you read the Gospel of Mark and Luke, their first mention of Peter is that it was during the healing of his mother-in-law. His mother-in-law was down with a fever. So we know Peter was married because the Bible talks about the mother-in-law who was in his house, who was down with a flu. So Peter experienced the miracle of Jesus' healing. All right? He experienced it in his house as one of the very first miracles of him being called into ministry. His mother-in-law was healed from a fever, instantly got up and started serving them in the house. And Peter had also experienced the miracle that John records earlier in his gospel of the man who was sitting by the pool of Bethesda. And remember, Bethesda is Peter's town. So this is happening in his hometown. His homeboy, if I can use the street lingo, his homeboy had experienced a miraculous healing after 38 years. Take up your bed and walk. And so that miracle was done, and Peter saw the signs that followed. Peter experienced the miracle in the wedding at Cana in Galilee. He was there and he witnessed this thing happening right in his eyes. And the Bible in the book of John, right there at the wedding, it says, and his disciples believed in him that he was the Messiah. Peter was there, but he was not yet converted. And so we track the life of Peter, and we discover that the reason why Jesus said these words at the temptation in the Garden of Gethsemane as he was praying. Remember, Peter had benefited from the prayer ministry of Jesus before these words were even mentioned. As he went into the Garden of Gethsemane, he called Peter, John, and James to come further with him to pray. And he slept. If only Peter had been awake and praying with Jesus. The verse says, keep praying with me so that you don't fall into temptation. If he had only been praying with Jesus and not sleeping, he might not have taken his sword and cut the ear of Malchus. But Peter went to sleep, and as he slept, the Bible then says Jesus came and said, would you not watch with me for 1 hour so that you don't fall into temptations? The success of Peter, let me reiterate this message, was not his making. Peter has no bragging rights about his success in ministry. He owes it to the prayers and the mentorship and the leadership of Jesus. So they sleep. And when the crew came with the army and the torches and the lights to arrest Jesus, Peter resorted to what he thinks he knows best. He went into the pocket, pulled the knife and cut the ear. And Jesus says, put that thing back. He who kills by the sword will also die by the sword, Peter. There's no life in the sword. I am the real sword of truth. So Jesus heals Malchus. I want you to journey with me now. Given that prayer by Jesus, you come to the book of John and hear how he narrates in so much detail how things happened when Jesus was arrested. So they take him to the courtyard. And the Bible in the book of John then says Peter could not find his entrance into the courtyard. So one of the disciples of Jesus came. I'm on John chapter 22 now. One of the disciples came. There's a debate as to whether it was John, the disciple whom Jesus loved, or it was Judas. But it just simply says the disciple who was known by the chief priests came by the gate and said, please allow that one to come inside the courtyard. Let me tell you this. Some of the opportunities that are opened for you by your brothers and your sisters are the very reason why you got tempted and you fell away. I'm going to pause to allow you to just simmer that into you. Look back into your life and realize some of the opportunities you were given to go for lunch with somebody are the very opportunities where you lost your purity. That trip you took, that weekend excursion you took, where they opened the door for you to access certain benefits, that weekend, that holiday, that visit, that sleepover was a door that was opened that brought you into your temptation. Because right by the door, the girl who was watching over the gate, it was a woman, it was a girl. She was watching over the door to the courtyard. Women are portals. How did you handle your last relationship with a woman? And my sister, how did you arrange and live and behave yourself in your last relationship? The girl simply says, are you not one of the disciples of this man? And Peter was like, what are you talking about? I'm not. And the sun has set this time. It's getting colder. He gains access. He has denied him first time. Gets by the fire. He's cold. He needs a bit of warmth. And someone has set up the fire. Some of those opportunities you are accessing where people have set up themselves and you want to be part of them are the very reasons why you get tempted and you get tried and you deny Jesus. The officer says, hey, my brother, you are one of them, right? You must be one of them. There was something about Peter's appearance that made him one of them. And finally, the servant, who was the kinsman to Malchus and the high priest, said, I saw you in the garden. You are the one who cut his ear. And Peter was like, I don't know what you are talking about. The people you messed up with in the past, the people you sinned with in the past, their relatives, their friends, their kinsmen, their wives or their husbands are coming for you. They know what you did in the past with their relative. Malchus, you cut his ear. You adulterated with her. You sinned with her. Or you sinned with him. They know it. They have your files in Zimbabwe. They will say they have your V11s. One day, don't be surprised when they come for you. And brother, my sister, at that moment, don't deny Jesus. Because Peter denied him right there, even when he knows I was there. So Peter cannot ascribe his success to his own ability to defend himself and stand for Christ. He failed and he went away on the same gate weeping and crying because he got contact with Jesus and finally discovered that prayer was true. That confession by Jesus is true. So you don't succeed because of your own abilities, your own intelligence, your own knowledge. You succeed simply because you are a beneficiary of the miracles, the signs, and the wonders of God in prayer. You benefit simply because you saw your mother-in-law being cured of a disease that was ravaging her. You are saved simply because your brother came and helped you understand there's a Messiah around here. You are saved simply because those who love you the most prayed for you. They prayed for you. You are a product of prayers. I believe it was not my making for me to be what I am today. I believe there were so many prayers that were made over my life when I was born, when I was growing up. Some of them I don't even have a record of them. Because we don't know when and where Jesus prayed for Peter, but he came to tell him, I have prayed for you. And so the interesting part is, he leaves the courtyard. Jesus gets crucified. We don't know if Peter was there, but we know John was there with the mother of Jesus and Mary Magdalene and other women who came along. But we don't know where Peter was. Possibly Peter would have taken one of the groups, some of the disciples with him, and they trekked north out of Jerusalem back to Bethesda, which was on the top side of the Sea of Tiberias. They went there because that was his village. They were retreating and running away from the attacks and the difficult situations, because Peter must have thought, if they know me, they're going to come after me, so let me run. So he went far, justifiably, just like Jonah. So he went fishing. So the book of John then gives us the details of that environment at the Sea of Tiberias. They have fished all night. They have caught nothing. It's early in the morning. They see a flicker of a flame by the shoreside as they are coming on shore. And they hear a voice, children, have you got any fish? No, we have fished all night and we've caught zero. And then the voice says, just cast your nets a little bit on the deeper side, on the right side, and you will catch some. They're like, okay. They do that. They cast on the right side. They catch some. I say they casted on the right side. There's a reason why I'm mentioning that. They caught so much fish. John even enumerates the number. Can't quite remember the exact number from the book of John. John chapter 21, verse 11. It says, Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land, and full of great fish, and 153. All of there, and for all there were so many, and was not a net broken. 155 fish, they counted them literally. That was a big catch ever. Then by the fireside, just walk with me. It's early morning. It's cold. Just like on that night when Peter denied Jesus, it was cold. There was a fire in the courtyard, and there's a fire here. The difference of the fires is that there's Jesus around the fire. So Jesus recreates the environment of Peter's fall. So, sometimes God brings in this dramatic scenery to really capture our attention, because it's not us who's doing it. Peter has jumped into the water. He has his coat with him. He is freezing. He is cold. What do you think he needs the most? Fire. And who has the fire? It's Jesus. And what's on the fire? There's bread and fish, the same things Peter was looking for the whole night. Remember now, this is the same Peter who asked Jesus, we have left everything for you. What is our reward? That's early in the book of John chapter 6 when he said, eat my body and drink my blood. They are life indeed. And many people went back, and he turned to his disciples and he said, do you also want to go? And Peter said, where can we go to, Lord? You are the Son of God, and you have the word of life. So Peter says, I can't go anywhere. So here he is again. Fire right there. He needs to warm himself. And Jesus says, before you come to the fire, bring some of the fish that you caught. We must also braai it, roast it here, barbecue here, and have a bigger breakfast. Come, let's have breakfast. This is the proper appointment you need, not some of those breakfasts and dinners you go with the wrong people. This is the right one. And it was here that Peter was called again. He was called earlier. His name was changed. He witnessed miracles, signs, and wonders in his life through his brother, his mother-in-law, and through his countrymen at the pool of Bethesda, and many other miracles that he saw Jesus perform. But on this one, he discovered yet another miracle, that the things I go chasing, they are a mirage. I will never catch them, but I will only catch them as I am in Jesus, because Jesus has what I'm looking for. What I've been looking for all night, he has it even roasted and prepared for me. And so, why did I emphasize the fact that Jesus says, cast your net on the right side and not on the left? They were casting on the left. He said, cast on the right side. You will find more, and you will catch some. You see, Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Righteousness. Doing right with God. Being a person of justice. God is looking for us to always be casting our nets on the right side. Don't take a short left, as we say in South Africa. Take a quick right. Cast on the right side, and you will find. And so, in brief, my friends, it's never your doing. It is God's doing. And that's why it's marvelous. You are a beneficiary of his miracles. And so God is saying to you today, Peter, lovest thou me more than the fish or your friends? Lord, make that call today. Your Lord knows exactly why you are in the situation you are in. And so he's expecting you to make the right decision today to follow him. He didn't just call you once earlier in his ministry, but every act of miraculous salvation and success that he has given you It is his token of appreciation and a call of love for you to follow him. Will you follow him today? Because after that conversation, Jesus then said to him, "Follow me, Peter. Follow me." His concern was, what about this one, John? What will happen? He says, does it matter what happens to him if I decide to keep him until I come, or if he dies? Does it matter? You, Peter, put your gutters on. Follow me. Focus on me. And you will find yourself rest for your souls. May God bless you as you reflect on this word. You walk not by sight, but by faith. As you reflect on this word, remember, it is his prayers that keep us going. It is never our doing. God bless you.